Hello, everyone. My name is Julie McVeigh, and this is Unordinary Made Ordinary, where we talk about extraordinary experiences of everyday people. After today's interview, if you would like to continue the conversation of all things metaphysical, paranormal, and supernatural, feel free to join our private UMO group by clicking on the link in the video description. And today we have a very special guest, Nanci Trivellato. I wasn't sure if I was going to pronounce that correctly.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, it was good.
Thank you. I'm like, oh dear, I'm going to mess up the last name. Beautiful name. And I'm so happy you could meet with me because I know you've been very busy. So this is just going to be a very fascinating conversation. So to get us started, if you wouldn't mind, could you just share a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure. Well, I am from an Italian family, but I was born in Brazil, in a very small town of Brazil that nowadays I learned to be very fond of and know how much I had there of a nice, peaceful place. I have lived in different countries, United States, United Kingdom. Now I am in Portugal. I am often in United States. I almost share a house there. And the reason why I travel and I do what I do is because I have had some experiences as a child, Julie. And for me, it was a little bit difficult because living in the place I was living, I had a family that was adorable, my mother, and she was caring, but I would feel absolutely lost because I had things that I would feel I could not explain. Sometimes I would, for example, feel like I would hear somebody talking to me. And I was like, what is this? Cannot be. So I would get afraid because I would look and nobody was there. Sometimes I would feel like pulses in different parts of my body. Today, I know I was just feeling some of my chakras. I was sensitive. They were pulsing or vibrating, but I didn't know then. So I would think, oh, maybe I have a disease. And in my mind, I would play a whole movie that I would die and everyone in my family would cry.
Oh, no. That's horrible.
Yes, it was so good experiences that I had, but without guidance, I was always concerned something was wrong with me.
Yes.
And I would have sometimes out-of-body experiences, and they were always nice. As a child, I never had an unpleasant out-of-body experience. They were good. I would just float, fly around, see my body, see my sisters sleeping in the same room. Sometimes I would be confused that I should be dreaming, but I was awake because I was seeing my body lying down there. But experiences that a child doesn't care. You go out, you fly. But at a certain point in my life, I started becoming very scared because we moved from one city to another. We moved several times, houses. And there was in one house that I started getting afraid because I would sense some presence that today I would call them spiritual presences, and people use different names. But at the time, I did not know. The interesting thing is that my out-of-body experiences started so spontaneous, so natural, I wouldn't even have to bother about them. But perceiving these presences, they always were uncomfortable to me, and the perception per se was uncomfortable. One of the remarkable out-of-body experiences I had that I think made a shift in my mind, not at that time, but later on, was once that I visited a hospital. I mean, from that small city I was born, I had never seen a hospital, or I didn't have a TV at home. I was from a very humble, simple family. But one day I went out of my body. Now I say went out of my body. At that time, I did not know how to explain, but I knew it was not a dream. And I went to a hospital where I saw an uncle of mine in a post-surgery room. So he had all of those equipments connected to him. and breathing with help of oxygen. And for me, that was shocking. And I saw like almost like a transparent tube coming out of his abdomen, which was covered by a sheet, but I could see it coming down to the floor and going into a glass jar. And there was a liquid that was like reddish. So that experience just stayed there in my mind. Later on, I knew my uncle was in surgery. And when I grew up, let's say I was around my 20s, I started thinking, goodness, I had too many experiences, the moments that I was afraid and the things that I have felt, plus the experiences that I have had. And this one with my uncle, I mean, I knew it was a fact what I saw, and I knew that I absolutely could not have imagined that. So I started thinking that I liked the idea of studying the non-physical side of reality, because there should be a scientific study for that. And I dedicate to this. I hope to help build a solid study on these non-ordinary phenomena. By the way, I love the name of your channel. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So there you go.
Wow. Yeah, that would be I would think so frightening. I did not have childhood experiences that you would be having these, and you couldn't talk to your parents about it, and your siblings didn't have any of these experiences?
I did not know how to explain the experiences because I was always very rational. I mean, trying to understand what was going on. And I would like wake up in the middle of the night and feel like somebody was really close to me, but there was nobody. So I felt, what am I going to say? And I would hear them talking. I would have nightmares. I mean, it was awful. And I would be so afraid that I did not want to go to bed. And when I would go to bed, my most difficult decision was, should I lie with my back facing the door? Am I more protected because I don't see anything? Or should I lie the other way around? So I would cover my head.
Wow.
And later on, I would learn that many children do that out of fear. And I have been studying since then these experiences at childhood, because I think it's very important that we clarify. Some people think, oh, non-ordinary experiences are amazing and you are special, you are evolved from another planet. I don't think it's a fact. It's absolutely natural. We just need to understand how it works. But on the other hand, other people think it's always dangerous and there is danger of getting lost outside the body or somebody will come and attack you. But nobody stops to think how much children experience all of these things, not knowing what it is. And they forget. I'm doing a research on this. I was mentioning to you, Julie, and I have interviewed people from 14 countries and have done a very deep study. And what I see is that many times we just forget the experiences. You get the clues, but we forget naturally as a child. I bet how much I have forgotten, but those are the bits that I remember. They were scary enough.
I'm curious.
Once we moved out of that house, it stopped.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
So it means it was something in the environment that made it heavier, because I would sense it before and I would be like, what's going on? What is this? But never afraid of going to bed, never waking up in the middle of the night and being like frozen, not knowing what to do and wanting to call somebody to be awake with me. Never, ever. So this only happened in that place.
Would you say that as a child, you were more energetically sensitive than maybe other children, or all children are energetically sensitive and it's just a matter of remembering our memories of it?
Oh, that is a very great question, Julie. No, not all children are energetically sensitive. Okay. But if we compare children and adults, we have a much higher number of children who are sensitive, and through adulthood, they lose it. I myself have lost loads of the sensitivity and ability that I had. Nowadays, well, I sense a lot, but because I have a lot of experience, I work with this the whole day. But I imagine somebody who would not be working into this, for them, life would be simply just the physical life with their everyday routine by now. When I was maybe around 12, there was something that I never told this anybody, but there was something that I would do that I would love, but I also would be like, oh, what is going on here? Because it was so easy for me to leave the body. Nowadays, look, it's 100 of that. Oh, it's not as easy. It's amazing how life changes us. But at that time, I would just concentrate, for example, on my right arm, let's say, and I would try and lift that, but lift the arm of the astral body.
Right.
And then I would feel it absolutely as I feel here now. And I would move it.
When you're awake?
But I would look down and my arm was there.
Oh,
and
my
then
goodness.
I could choose to twist. I could choose to go out that easily.
Wow.
But I did not. I wish so much I have had somebody to guide me at that time. I would have taken so much advantage of the experiences. Instead, I was trying to stop them. They were very pleasant, but I was trying to stop. I did not know what to do with that.
Well, goodness, now you've been researching and can you just share a little bit about the progress, the process that you've gone through, and what you're doing today is just amazing.
I have done quite a few in-depth research, different methods, long survey research with many thousands of people participating to gather information. One of the major topics for me is not so much to prove the out-of-body experience exists, because not trying to bring non-interesting subjects that are part of our life, but you can say anything. People believe in whatever they want. And it's amazing nowadays, the more means of communication we have, it seems that people are even more lost. So I think it's very, very important that we try and bring light to what's real, but not trying to hope that we are going to change anyone's mind. Because for a lot of people, the idea of being able to leave the body consciously goes against their culture, their religious principles.
Yes.
I think it should be completely separate. I mean, you want to believe in something divine? Fine. The out-of-body experience is an experience that lets you experience the spiritual, non-physical world. But then you make out of that whatever you want. So my research is not so much to try and prove the experience. It's, I think, pointless, but to try to understand how it happens.
Yes.
And especially, how can we distinguish, and that is a very hard part of it, how can we distinguish a true experience from just a fantasy? Because very often people will confuse, they have a crazy dream, or they watch something about whatever, aliens form a galaxy that is far away and nobody don't even know that exists, and they know the names and everything, and they start telling. So it's very hard to put like a demarcation. What is a fact that the person really experienced? And maybe we don't have the experience, we don't have the explanation for what they have experienced, but they did experience it.
Yeah.
And what their brain could have just mixed with it.
Right.
That is not a simple research, but we have done some experiment. I have worked on that with Wagner Allegretti. He's my partner. We have been working on this together for a long time. And we have got some interesting results. But, you know, with time and experience, we kind of hear some experiences and we say, wow, that's very possible. Or even the way the person says, you know, that is a fact or is just a confusion, which can happen to any of us. I would advise for somebody to be open-minded, record their experience, look for explanations, but don't jump to conclusions. Oh, this is whatever, or this is nothing.
Right.
We stay here in the middle examining. So that's my effort. I hope little by little, I help to build that seriousness to the study.
Yes, yes. And as you were sharing just now, I was thinking of my own experiences and how, and from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, according to your research, you can go out of body legitimately and just lose lucidity, and then you can kind of start to bring dream elements into it and kind of mix. So it's hard to sometimes keep it a strong consciousness and lucidity in your projection.
Absolutely. And sometimes that is part of the research. We are lucid. We really saw whatever we saw. However, at the moment of bringing the recollection back to the brain,
yes,
we may just mix a bit, because let us think, if we are out of the body, really, it's us, the essence, the consciousness, the soul, whatever you call it, the self is out there. The brain is here and the body in an automatic function. So when we come back, we have to transfer that information to the brain. That is a big challenge because lots gets lost. So that is one key thing. And sometimes out there, we are seeing things that are not so clear. We can also be like just semi-conscious, not fully conscious.
Right.
This
so
is also
both, it sounds like
confusing.
there's two challenges, at least. One is when you're out, you might not be so lucid and so conscious. And also, because you don't have a brain when you don't have a brain when you're out. That sounds funny, but you don't have a physical brain when you're outside of your body. You're using your consciousness, and you've got to somehow download that into the physical brain. And I would imagine some things might get lost in the downloading, I guess.
Exactly. Lost or mixed files.
Mixed up. Or maybe our brain tries
which is even harder. Yes.
I was thinking maybe our brain is, maybe we've seen something out there that we can't make sense of with our brain. So we try to put labels on it and categorize it.
That's another variable. You see, it's so many variables. That's true. And if we have too strong preconceptions, then we end up altering the interpretation of what we saw.
Yes, yes.
It's amazing. And there was once, if I may share here an anecdote. Once I was in a TV show, one of those live TV shows. Oh, when we had that in Cyprus. And they are very strict Catholic, Orthodox Catholics, very strict. But it was crazy. We were talking about out-of-body experience, and the interviewer wanted to bring light to that topic, and she had to mix a little bit with Jesus so that she would be accepted. But she had experience. She was very on the spot, and I was answering questions live. So people would ask live. And I heard a couple, I can never forget that they were describing a phenomenon that happened with them in their house. And they described with such detail, so perfectly, some sort of apparition and how they saw the energy of that. And then to me, I thought, wow, this can show anybody that there is so much more beyond this life. But at the end of the day, their explanation was, there was a message from God, period, nothing else. So it's amazing how interpretation is a problem. That's why I think nobody needs to study out-of-body experience to have excellent experiences. But one needs to be open-minded. So the more we study about it with the right approach, the better. But if we study about it with an approach that is too much, how would I say, bent or towards one specific view, a bit ideological or something like this, that may be confusing. So it's not a simple thing, right, Julie, for us to discuss about. So that's why I admire what you do here.
Which also kind of makes me wonder, could you differentiate for us between near-death experience and out-of-body experience?
Yes. The near-death experience is one type of out-of-body experience. But in the case of the near-death experience, it has some specific characteristics. Number one, the person is dying, right? And sometimes is dead for whatever, a minute, and then it's resuscitated. At that time, of course, there is almost the body is at the brink of stopping working, and sometimes it does, even brain dead for a moment. But it seems, according to observations and what is the model that now operates, it seems that when we are in a very low metabolism, the ourselves, we disconnect from the body.
Okay.
Like if we go to an anesthesia, like general anesthesia, people do disconnect from the body, but they are not lucid. They are just
right.
sleeping out there or whatever, blackout here, blackout there. But some, they do become lucid, and they report what they saw, what the doctors did. The same happened in the near-death experience. At that moment, the consciousness separates, but some remain conscious, and it seems they have a choice to come back or not. Or there are cases, people only talk about the good cases of out-of-body experience, but there is a small percentage that the experience is not pleasant. But it depends so much on how we feel about ourselves once we cross over. But in the case of the near-death experience, that phase itself in which they find themselves in a beautiful place, or talk to a relative, or see somebody guiding them, that is an out-of-body experience that happened while the person was near death or dead and came back. So it is pretty much the experience in itself the same.
Have you heard of also out-of-body experiences that they're not near death, but it's a traumatic experience? So trauma. So could be abuse, or it could be, for example, I've heard of experiences where it could have been near death. They were almost in a near-death experience, a car accident or other injuries,
yes.
but they didn't actually come real close to death, but it was very traumatic.
Yes.
Does that cause us to jump out of body? Do you know?
Yes, sometimes. And it's so interesting because when we talk about the standard rule of the out-of-body experience, it happens when the body is very comfortable, very relaxed.
Right.
However, so it's amazing because the phenomenon per se is very simple. We simply disconnect from the body. Why is it that we have to be so relaxed, so focused, and we have to do techniques? Right. Because we need to put our body in a condition and our mind in a condition that we don't interfere. Because if we are here saying, okay, no, get out, what do? We don't know what to do. And we keep trying.
Right.
But there are cases that are absolutely amazing of people, for example, that they were about to be in a crash.
Yes.
And they see the crash from outside of the body. Yes. So they see from up there. It's amazing. There are cases that I find it even more interesting of people who are in deep pain, usually physical, but sometimes also emotional. Deep, deep pain, unbearable pain. In the out-of-body experience happens because of that. They are not trying. They don't even know out-of-body experience exists. And I think that is a factor that makes difference there because they allow it to happen. They do not know what's happening. But some, they have the out-of-body experience to escape from the pain. Actually, that is called escape projection.
Oh,
okay. That is, yes.
Never heard
that.
of that.
Is an interesting thing. Yes. There is a case. Can I share another anecdote?
Of course.
An interesting thing because there is a case of someone, an individual that he's called Edward Morel. I don't think he's still here in the physical world. I'm not sure actually. But Edward Morel was a prisoner in Alcatraz, if I'm not mistaken. And he would be abused by the guards and tortured. And they would put him like in a straitjacket with the body all hurt anyways. It was terrible pain. He would have to be there 24 hours without moving. And what did he learn? He learned to leave the body.
Oh boy,
to escape from that. And then he managed to find some evidences of his innocence, to, seeing things from outside the body and visit places and know people. And his story is so amazing.
Wow.
He managed to get out of there because of his out-of-body experience.
Oh my gosh, I have to look this up.
But yes, it's amazing. But let us think how many people in that condition would have this. Very few. But some of these experiences people call mystical experience, they are brought up due to pain, hormones, and they produce that condition of the body letting go, and then the consciousness disconnect. So I'm not saying just a rush of emotion and feeling good, because this is the endorphins and all of that, but I'm saying at that time also seeing oneself outside the body, seeing things that one can confirm. There are many, many interesting cases.
Would you mind trying to explain what happens as far as your research has been able to shed light on so far? Like, what's disconnecting? What's actually happening here?
Wonderful. I see. I think I understand your question.
You know,
If not, you correct me.
you know, what's this body?
What is it that is separating?
The energy body, or is it a spirit body? What is this?
It seems, bringing to a simple condition, there are too many theories, but theories that are more like extrapolations of what could be, than based on the actual observation of the experience. When we examine the actual experiences, those that are more solid in the description, it's pretty simple. Not necessarily easy, but pretty simple.
Okay.
We are a consciousness. We are an individual essence that nobody really knows how to explain how we came to be. So we can bring all sort of theories, but those are theories, and there can come the divine, whatever. But if we think strictly, we don't know. What we know is I am a consciousness, Julie is a consciousness, all of those of you who are there watching, you are consciousnesses. Or soul, if you want to call it. I like the word consciousness. I think it's more neutral. And this consciousness is right now having an experience in a dense world. We say dense because it's harder, right? Easier for us to recognize, and we are going to see subtler realities. This dense, ordinary physical world, now we manage to manifest here and exist here, and we think, and we have emotions, and we know we are ourselves, in spite not knowing all of the details about ourselves, but we know we are ourselves here because we are connected to this physical body. However, this consciousness seems have existed before and will exist in the future in other lives. That is what very strong evidences point to, and even some serious research. But when this body here is at a certain level of looseness, how would I explain it? Our consciousness is attached to the physical body by some connections, links of energy. And those links of energies have a very, very deep relation with chakras. What people call chakras are some of the most important links of energy that connects us with here. But us as consciousnesses, we do not use only the physical body. We also use a non-physical body, normally known as astral body, subtle body, etheric double, doesn't matter. So this astral body, let's put this is the most known terminology, and the physical bodies are two vehicles that we use to manifest in the physical dimension, in the non-physical dimension, and there are energies connecting them too. If you leave the body, if you, I mean, any of us here, leave the body, we will return to the same body. That's why I wake up every morning and boom, here we are in the same body, same life, same routine. We come back because of this energy connection. And this seems to be of a very precise information that we cannot describe exactly, or at least not in few words, what exactly that is, but that attach the two bodies. And it will be severed, according to everything we know, only when the physical body ceases to exist. I mean, it's not functioning anymore. So we have a biological death. And then we remain with this astral body.
Okay.
During the night, or let me put while we are in a deep sleep, these energies that connected to bodies, they get more loosened because we are not using the body. We are not active. We are not present here. We are not dreaming far away, unconscious. So these energies starting to get loosened up. And at that moment, the consciousness gets out via or using the astral body, which is the body that manifests out there. So it's natural. And the way the theory goes, everyone has out-of-body experience. However, the great majority of people do not experience conscious out-of-body experience, meaning they get out in this process. This is a natural process. It's necessary. In the same way, we need to dream to recover our synapses and organize our memories and our brain. We need this separation to recover our energy body, our chakras. However, most people, when they go through this phase, they black out. So they are really not experiencing anything. And if you tell to them, well, maybe something exists beyond, for them it's far-fetched, crazy idea. Mm-hmm. But if you mention this to somebody who perhaps had some experience, even though it was not very clear to them or not very well recalled, they will say, oh, really? Oh, I wonder if that's possible. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So all of those complexities of being conscious and recalling take part here. But it's as simple as that. So how wonderful it would be if we could control our thoughts, our concentration, our relaxation. Most people do not know how to relax properly. In our lives nowadays puts us further and further from that. If we could control our energies, all of our chakras, to a point that, I just sit here, as I said I could do at 12, nowadays, not even close to that. But I could sit here and say, let me take a look at what's going on somewhere, or let me go out through the ceiling here and bam, go. But we can't because there are so many variables and our mind interferes in so many different ways. But the phenomenon in simple words is that. Did I answer your question, Julie?
You did, and I'm curious. So it sounds like we've got the physical body, this energetic interface that links to the astral body, and our consciousness can be here in the physical, or it can be in the astral body. So then I would wonder, are there other bodies our consciousness can use out in who knows where dimensions?
It seems that there is another level that we can project to, meaning we are here, we recognize ourselves in this non-physical astral body, so there we can project to, and we know that is a reality that we manifest in after we die. And it seems that once we are there, there is another level that we project to. But it's much more rare. It's an experience that is much further from the reality we have here, because there are no forms, no time in the same way we see here. It's almost like in a fraction of a second, you experience a lot. So it's so different that it's usually very difficult to remember and much more rare to happen. But it seems, yes, there's another level. And we often call it, at the IAC that I contribute with here, the research at the IAC, but we normally call it the mental core, because it's, once we are there, we are purely our mind, which, by the way, if you will allow me this parenthesis, when we say we are purely our mind with no emotions, people think, oh, so it's cold. It doesn't care for anybody. No,
right.
Caring for people, loving people, respecting life is a mental attribute. With this mental attribute comes, I want this person close to me. Oh, I want this person didn't do what I wanted them to do, so now I'm sad. Oh, this one is so lovely because it's my child or my mother, and then I love her. Then comes bonds that are more emotional bonds that are part of life, of course. But what I'm trying to say is respecting others, understanding others. This is not a purely emotional thing. And how do we know that? Because people who have this type of experience, and that is so remarkable that there are fewer cases, but when people report it, bam, it's there, there's no doubt. And we see that they are pure love. They feel like they have pure love. So there is a type of sentiment there that is different than the type of emotion we experience here, or that we experience when we are projected with our astral bodies.
And so how do we have conscious out-of-body experiences, or become conscious once we're out of body? And I know that's a lot, but maybe just give us a little bit of an idea of techniques or...
Well, there are so many techniques. I think if I would say something super general that works for everyone, I would say anyone who deeply, deeply, deeply relax, let go of the body, let go of sensing the body, let go of perceiving or remembering you are in your bedroom. Because all of this framework that we have in our mind, that we are here in our body, that we are thinking from here out, right? Because we can say, oh, I am everywhere. Yes, but I am seeing life from here. My brain is the one that's bringing that.
Yes.
So even when we are doing an out-of-body technique, we kind of have this tendency to be focused on this reference point here.
Yes.
But if we let go of all of that, don't have any expectations, and only have inside of us an intention, a deep wish, but without anxiety, without pushing, without hurry, of detaching from the body, we may get in our physical bodies to that point of relaxation that we reach during the night, in which we spontaneously go out. Mm-hmm. And that's how the experience happens. All of the different techniques to leave the body consciously, they are all like artifices to try and bring us to this moment, mm-hmm. to bring us to this condition. So some of them, you imagine something or you breathe in a certain way, but all is trying to bring us to this point. So if we manage to do it, there we go. However, sometimes we are at that point, but when we start detaching, sensations change, not negative, just different. Mm-hmm. Because you are witnessing your energy body to be more loosened.
Yes, yes.
So you become more lucid of the energies around, more lucid even of the non-physical, astral side of your bedroom, let's say. And people feel spooked. Well, but then how can you leave the body? Just go through it. There is yes. no problem at all. But once people are outside the body, they don't fear anything. But this transition, just because it's a different feeling than we normally feel in the physical body, tends to make us, like just wonder what's going on. And 90% of the cases, something absolutely normal. What could go wrong? May I say that in this moment? Yes. Well, nothing can go wrong, but you can feel something not so pleasant. Why? Let me explain why. Because you are there observing your energy to become more loose and flow, and you are more conscious of the non-physical reality around of you. What if in your bedroom there are some not so pleasant energy stuck there from since the time someone else lived there? Mm-hmm. You may sense that more clearly. Is that going to attack you, hurt you? No. But you may sense that more clearly. If you become afraid or if you react, that is going to cause, how would I say, some impact on you. Mm-hmm. But if you are cool, observe, know what to do, know what's going on, then you can go through that and even better, learn techniques to balance this out, to cleanse it. Mm. There are ways that we can use our energy to improve our own energy, to improve the energy of our environment, and to help other people. Normally, most people are always thinking of what they can do for themselves. They don't think of the opportunity that an experience like this offers for us to help others. And with energy, we can do that. This is very strong part of what we teach at the International Academy of Consciousness. It's our goal. I mean, I have been working with this organization for 25 plus years. It's a lot. But I am part of those who, I am a founding member, so I know the principles. And it's so important that we find information, we find guidance of someone or a course that is only explaining to you how it works, instead of telling you how you should think, what is good or not. Yes. Just teach you the fact as it is. Mm-hmm. So I admire very much what IEC has been doing through all these years, and that's why I'm part of it. Mm-hmm. But that's a very big endeavor
Yes, it's been very helpful to me in my journey. And so what are the benefits? You're saying, what are the benefits of going out of body and learning this? Should everybody learn it? How to do it?
Yes, but can everybody learn it? Most probably no, because some people will be too spooked. It is going to be too fear, or they will fear they are doing something that is a sin.
Right.
They are betraying some sort of God or their family or their tradition. But if everyone could do it, that would be the best. Because the evil that people do, they do here because they want things here. But if we could all see that life goes beyond and everything is a continuation, and things will eventually, turn, and we get to revisit some of the things that we did and some of the places that we went to and we affected in positive or negative ways, I believe people would be more ethical, which is one of the very strong results of the near-death experience. For everybody? No, not for everybody. But hey, if we could have everyone live in the body and 90% of them become more ethical, is that good? Yes, because just look around what is the world we are in. So that is one of the things, you see, understanding life, understanding the mechanism of life and death, because death is one of the things that causes lots of fear, causes people to be repressed and doubt themselves, and is a very strong blackmail point for loads of different things. Mafia, sometimes relatives saying you something bad is going to happen to you.
Oh, yes.
Or sometimes even religion controls you through that fear.
Absolutely.
And if we could understand death and not be so afraid of death, perhaps we could be afraid, or someone would be afraid of dying and how we die. And I can totally understand that. As age progresses, we think of that. But the death per se, we do not have to be afraid of death. And that changes a lot. The other thing is, what we live here is but a fragment of who we really are. We are something beyond this body, beyond this moment, beyond this life. What if we can recognize who we are, our potential, what we have already learned and done in previous moments, in previous lives? This can enrich our lives here. This can give us more self-confidence. And there are other more practical applications, not so evolutionary, so philosophical, but what about meeting somebody that we love who passed away? Is it always possible? No, not always. But that happens, and sometimes it happens spontaneously. I have a video that I did about this, explaining, because many people, they don't understand how this can be. And what about getting clues about our life mission? What is it that we have to do in this life? Do we have a mission, a purpose? I'm not saying a mission in a sense that you have to, no, but do we have a purpose? What is it that's more meaningful to us? Not in this moment because something's trendy, but based on our evolution, on who we are as a consciousness, not who we are only in our identity here. So these aspects, I think they are very powerful, and there are dozens of benefits and applications, but those are the ones that come to my mind right now.
Curious about healing. What would you say about using this as a way to heal yourself or others?
Yes, it's absolutely possible, in two different ways. Many times there are effects that we have, not only in our bodies, traumas, emotional reactions, or sometimes it's like a limitation that we have. Something stops us from doing something that we would like to.
Right.
And when we have out-of-body experience, we can have an awareness of the reason for that, besides having some awareness of who we really are. So that can absolutely dissolve that. And in many cases, even the physical problem goes away. So that is one side. Does it mean you leave the body, you are going to be cured? No. But is it possible? Yes. And there are many cases. There's another side of it that I think it's even more common to happen, that is related with the energy work. Because when we manage to work with our energy, the whole energy body, the energetic interface, and therefore the chakras are part of it, we do start having a more balanced energy. We may remove residues of old energies or things that were gravitating around, and that can produce very dramatic, in a good sense, very impactful healing in some cases. But again, it will vary from what is the situation, who is the person, but it is possible. Having said that, may I?
Yes.
It just came to my mind, having said that, based on this possibility, which is a real possibility, I think there are so many people that they end up making a living out of it without being able to guarantee. So they kind of deceive a little bit others. And I can heal you. Oh, no, you do this technique, you'll be healed. No, you do this technique, you have a chance to be healed. Well, I can try and improve your energies and see how it goes, but am I going to be able to? People tend not to recognize, or at least not in public, their limitations. And some even don't recognize for themselves. And I think it's very bad, because if we try to bring seriousness to this area of study, we cannot have people who fake abilities or deceive others or just make money out of it. That is a killer for us to start a science. And that's, I guess, one of the strong things that we have against building up a more stable knowledge into all of these. I have a book, I do not know if you know, that is about energy work and how we can balance our energy and our chakras. So that is a method that has been proven very, very effective. We have some very interesting research on that. But again, it depends on how well the person practices the technique.
Do you want to share just a couple minutes about the Velo technique?
Yes, absolutely. So the technique I teach the most, and the reason why I teach the most is because I have researched for over 15 years this technique, which is an ancient technique. So it's not new. It's since Buddha time, and many different practices use it, which is moving the energies longitudinally, so up and down, let's say, inside the body. But this technique, although had been practiced in so many different areas, each area would do it in a different way. Like you concentrate in the surface, you concentrate inside, you do it fast, you do it slow. And then what is the most effective? And I had practiced this technique for many years. And I started seeing that there were ways that I would do that would bring me so much more consistent results that would last for hours and would put me in a state of balance and peace, and therefore strength that I wouldn't have if I would do the same exercise in a different manner, like faster or not with so much attention. So I started researching. I researched hundreds of people with in-person sessions, and then also did survey research. And I developed these methods that we call Velo. And I talk a lot about this. And Velo is voluntary energetic longitudinal oscillation, meaning your energy oscillates, meaning it's a frequency, goes up and down your body longitudinally from the very top of your head, very sole of your feet. It's very simple. However, doing this, anybody can do, but we would like to do it moving a great amount of energy, because it's then like as if we are flushing, scrubbing, massaging our energies, our chakras from within. And old energies, blockages, and especially areas in which we do not let our energy flow because of fears, unconscious feelings. And also, if I may add, parts of our energy body which are used by some spiritual presences to attach to us, to influence our emotions, our thoughts, to influence us in different ways, we start touching all of that and cleansing them.
Okay.
And cleansing very deeply inside. So that is the Velo technique. It's very simple. Energy up and down in a constant flow. The tricky part is it important to feel or not? People want to sense the energy, and it comes with time, but it's more important to do, because you can just imagine something and start feeling something. What is important is what we are actually doing. I think the result from the technique matters more than anything, but we do sense the energy. We do sense the difference. It's important that it's only inside the body. And people say, can I let the energy go out? Yes, but that is a different technique. It can be done. But the moment we do it, it's going to work in completely different ways. So yes, we may achieve results, but it's not the same. Yes, please.
I'm just curious, how does this relate to the vibrational state? A lot of people, it seems pretty common for those who go out of body, they will experience or often experience this vibrational state. Would you say that's the moment that you can maybe start moving your energies and trying the Velo technique, or no?
No. When you are having the vibrational state, the best strategy is don't move your energy, because you will break that resonance, that frequency that is established in all of your energy body. How Velo relates to the vibrational state? Deeply. Because while we are doing Velo, we are bringing our energy body to a condition that is healthier, is more active, it's more aligned, more balanced, and therefore closer to the point in which we reach vibrational state. When we start practicing Velo properly, enough times per day, and following the technique, we will have more vibrational states spontaneously. We will be able to distinguish better how our energy changes. And therefore, many times, we would just go to bed, vibrational state comes, and we may end up leaving the body. It's important to say that nobody will leave the body if the person doesn't want to. Velo does not force you outside the body. Velo and the consequent vibrational state that may come with it gives you a chance of controlling your out-of-body experience.
Ooh, that's important.
So it's the other way around. You do not want to go out for whatever reason. You manage to stay in. But you want to, you can work with your energies and make them get more loose. It's the control of all of this process that is so important. If I may, yes, please go ahead.
I was going to ask, does it help you also stay out longer? Because that's important too. Is there a way to stay out of body longer? Because you know how quickly we go back sometimes.
Yes, it does help to stay out longer, because this control of energy gives us some sort of stability in our mind, in our emotions. And because the connection of the two bodies is energetic, this energy here being more balanced, that is connecting the two bodies, it allows us to stay longer. And very important, to stay more lucid.
Oh, that's really important too.
So those who do Velo, they start having more, remembering more their dreams. They start having more lucid dreams. So they start having more out-of-body experiences. It's a natural progression if the person allows for that to happen.
Wow, that's so important. Two important questions or common questions. How do I stay out longer, and how do I become more lucid when I'm out? So very important. I need to put that into practice more often. I am not disciplined enough.
I will start with the second, because the first is a consequence of the second. How do I stay more lucid? Being present.
Yes, yes.
Because often when we are outside the body, we start acting as if we were here, automatic, in the physical dimension. You know, like when we go from one place to another and we do things automatically.
Yes.
This modus of operation that we use sometimes, it's not the best for the out-of-body experience, because that's when our lucidity reduces and we start mixing our thoughts with the reality. So the key is, you should tell yourself, when I find myself outside the body, even if that's just a lucid dream, I am in doubt, I am going to immediately pay attention where I am. How does everything look like? Because if that's a lucid dream, we have a chance of turning that into an out-of-body experience. If that is an out-of-body experience, we will get more conscious. By being more conscious, we can control better how long we stay there. Because we tend to return very quickly.
Yes.
Because we have jumps of action. Oh, I like it. Oh, I am out.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to fly. And when we do this,
Guilty.
When we do this, the repercussion that causes in our energy makes us return, because it's the very energy that connects the two bodies.
Huh. Yeah, I always want to fly. When I'm out, I just want to fly, fly, fly. Addicted to flying.
But you know what? Then what you do is that instead of I'm gonna fly, you do it, I'm gonna start jumping little by little and higher, because then you get used to that. It doesn't cause that sudden change that is right now bringing you back to the body. So try this, it may help.
I will. Which, you know, I'm curious now, you said maybe you could tell us a little bit about the difference, and we are running out of time. I have so many more questions. I can't even tell you.
One day we get together again, and then you bring whatever you want.
That would be amazing.
If when our schedules match, it was so hard for us to schedule this one, but it happened.
Well,
so
you were traveling
we can do
too.
It again. Yes, I will be traveling in 3 days. So yes, but I'm going to be in Los Angeles, so it's going to be easier for us.
Oh,
in terms of
okay. So you're going to be living in Los Angeles?
No, I'm going to be there for a period.
You're just staying for but during that time, maybe we can do a
we can do it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, do you want to save more for that, or do you want to close
I'm
down?
just concerned with how long we have here, because it may get tiring for people. For me, it's okay.
I know. It's not tired. I don't get tired of this, but yes, you're right. Some are like, I can't watch this whole hour and a half.
Like, oh, it's so long. Yeah.
I was just, maybe you could tell a little bit about the difference between a lucid dream and an out-of-body experience, and how would you become how do you go from a lucid dream to an out-of-body experience?
There are several steps that we can follow in sequence to turn a lucid dream into an out-of-body experience. But if I explain what happens, at least so that we come out of this talk with some explanation, the lucid dream is a dream. It's happening in our brain, but we are lucid enough to start controlling it. But sometimes we are, for example, floating outside of our bodies with that dream that starts getting lucid more and more. So we can turn that into an out-of-body experience. Saying this is a bit complex, and we would need to go into more details, because many people call an actual astral projection out-of-body experience a lucid dream. I think they just find it an easier terminology for them to accept.
Yes.
and cope with when they are experiencing, oh, that's a lucid dream. But when they report it, I see, no, that's an out-of-body experience. That's not a lucid dream. So it's very interesting to understand the difference, because the lucid dream, it is something that we are creating when there are components, that they are real, that you are not actually controlling. Things are happening independently of your decision, your focus of mind. Then at least it's mixed. You are projected, and some dreams are taking part there, because the lucid dream, it's you dreaming. It's your choice. If it's lucid, it's your choice. So I think that's one of the things that confuse people a lot in terms of how do I differentiate?
What I try to do, and I don't know if this is the proper technique, but I tend to, when I become lucid in a dream, and it's sort of that moment of, oh, this is just a dream, and I'm kind of have that intention, goodbye dream, I don't have time for dreams, and I fly out, I fly up and ask for, use my intention, all right, astral realm, and I start, saying different things like higher self or higher astral. What do you think about that?
No, that works. That's a strategy that works.
Oh,
they are different, because deep down, that's what we do. There are just different approaches, but each approach will work better for each different person. What you are saying, it's good because you are making yourself conscious of where you are at the time without expectations, just trying to see where you will end up going to. So I think that is a good approach. Yes.
Okay. Well, all right. We'll wrap it up, I guess, but I would love to do this again. But before we wrap it up, what are your current projects that you're working on? And you did mention a little bit earlier. And then how can the listeners connect with you?
Connect with me. Well, my current project is the study about children. I think that is going to clarify a lot about how we develop these non-ordinary perceptions and abilities. And to connect with me, I have a channel. It's Nanci Trivellato English, because I have a channel in different languages. So that is very smart name, Nanci Trivellato English. But you can find me there. And there is lots of tips about all of this that we are commenting here. If you are interested in learning the Velo Technique, I have a course that I have created that is Velo 101. So it's step by step, progressing and giving you exercises for those who are interested and want to practice it. I also have a video teaching it with more details than I did here there in my channel. It's because otherwise we would take 30 minutes of our interview here. So I thought it was not worth it since it is there. But by all means, go ahead, dive into your energy experiences and out-of-body experiences. It's worthwhile.
Yes, yes. And what I like to do, Nanci, when I close is allow my guest any last words of just encouragement or anything that's on your heart that you just thought, oh, I really wanted to share this one last thing.
You see, one thing that I always like to mention is that these sort of perceptions and experiences that we are talking about here, they are very healthy, very balanced. There's nothing spooky about it, even though Hollywood movies and movies in general try to make it seem spooky. And everyone can do it, not only special people. You can learn. If you already have experience, you can learn how to control, you can learn how to produce. If you have experience that are not pleasant, you can learn how to stop them. We don't learn only how to become more open and have more of the experience. We learn to control them, and you can do it. I think this is very important because there is a lot of subliminal message around all of this we study that this is something very difficult or very special or for only a few people. So those would be my last words.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And thank you to everyone watching. This has been Julie McVeigh with Unordinary Made Ordinary. And I hope you'll join us next time for another fascinating interview. And if you like this, of course, give it a thumbs up. And if you like this type of content on the channel, please subscribe. And I do hope you are all having a fantastic day or evening wherever you are on the planet or off the planet. And I will see you all next time. Bye.